doesn't want to speak loud. I'm Jim Bergheimer, the moderator for today's panel. This has happened before. This will happen again. And welcome. Today's panel consists of 5 authors and a publisher. It's odd that a portion of what they want to discuss is movies and TV shows. I often don't find that I have time to watch anything. I watched the first season of Lost, and then after that, I'm completely lost. Which is ironic because one of the questions in here talks about with us today are publisher Dianne Helm from Helm Publishing, author Debra Killeen, also associated with Helm Publishing. 2 of my compatriots from Gryphonwood Press, authors Terry W. Ervin II and Ryan A. Spann, who made the trip all the way over from Europe, braving volcanic ash. That was fun. And then, of course, our guest of honor, Doctor Jerry Pournelle, a man who needs very little introduction. I'll start at the end of the table. I'll let each author introduce themselves. We'll start with Ryan all the way down to the end.
Hi, I'm Ryan A. Spann. I write the Street series of science fiction novels, and I've come a long time to be here.
I don't know, what am I supposed to say? They don't know who I am. Usually these things start with hangover jokes at this time of the morning, but in my case I don't drink anymore, so that doesn't work. I don't have any. But I've often told people I refuse to promise to be either civil or coherent before 10 in the morning. And while technically it's 10 here, it's 7 a.m. my time.
That'll be at 1 o'clock.
I'm Terry Ervin, and I'm obviously a science fiction fantasy author. I have about a half dozen short stories published. This is my first novel, Flank Hawk, as was mentioned by release from Gryphonwood Press. And a couple other things. I'm an editor for a small magazine, Mind Flights, and I'm also a contributor for Fiction Factor. It's an easing for writers.
My name is Dianne Helm. I started Helm Publishing in 1994 with a manuscript from a up-and-coming author. We sent out 250 queries after the editing was done to just agents and were promptly rejected by all 250. We spent another 250 on solo submissions to publisher houses that needed no agency, and were promptly rejected by them. So then I thought, well, what do they know? And I started my business with that manuscript. As of today, I have about 65 authors with about 120 books. We're working on audio and ebooks, concentrating on audiobooks because we feel that the markets are now, technology is up with the audio, and people are really reading or hearing the book through their cars, through their iPods, along with ebooks and Kindle. I concentrate on science fiction because it has the best loyal audience. But I do generally do other books like cookbooks, memoirs, biographies. So we're not beholden to any one genre. I just find them somewhat fascinating.
Hi, I'm Debra Killeen, and I am one of Dianne's authors. My 4th book, Priestess Awakening, has just been published this year. It's the 4th in my series, and I'm happy to say that the first book in that series, unlike the previous, going to be the first book coming out, hopefully soon. And I do this yearly each year.
Yeah, I'm your moderator, Jim Bergheimer. From Gryphonwood Press, I've got 2 novels out with them, and they published a short story collection. I write science fiction, fantasy, paranormal, whatever happens to come over to my mind. Anyway, let's go ahead and start our questions. The first question goes to the publisher on our panel. Well, you see hundreds, if not thousands, of manuscripts a year. Who knows, you might see one from me at some point. The old phrase that there are no original plots might be true, but how do you measure what feels fresh and original when you start looking at a What's been catching your eye lately, and is it the same things that caught your eye 6 months ago as things have changed?
Well, I tell you, because of the economy and the way things go, you always have to pick and choose your battles and what books and things you're doing. So because of the fact we're delving into audiobooks, I've kind of put the slush pile on the home side, but I'm getting back to it. The manuscripts really are, if the story is solid, if the characters are fleshed where I can understand where they're going with the book in the first 3 chapters, the writing's usually raw. So when I look past the writing and editing to the story and the heart of the book, when I see that and it comes together, I have a pretty good idea that this is a really nice either series or a standalone book or whatever it becomes. A lot of times what I'll do is I may find a good book, but because of the timing being off, I might resubmit it maybe 3 months down the road. It's hard to gauge what catches my attention. I had a book come to me about Cleopatra and her vampire assistant, where 2 people get caught in the castle and they're kidnapped, basically, to become either fodder for the vampires or the Queen Cleopatra reincarnated. I thought that was awesome. And that one I hadn't seen before, so it was new to me. This 3 Musketeers, that might be a great twist on the vampire thing too. So I thought, whatever catches the eye, it's not always easy to really pick and choose. It's almost like that first and second letter up type thing. You're like, wish I could pick both, because it could be that maybe somebody else is going to make that one happen for that person. And I believe in karma, that if it's meant to be, you will have it happen, either by me or by somebody else. And I push my authors to be submitted to other publishing companies because I want them to go further than just me. I'm the first stepping stone on the ladder that I look at.
Okay. How about trends? You see various, you talked about Cleopatra and a vampire's assistant.
Young adult is really popular. Young adult is so murky because a lot of adults read young adult, and then younger than young adult read young adult. So the subject matter is very, very tricky because then you've got Twilight. You're talking about sex, you're talking about first love, you're talking about subjects that are very personal to tweens. You don't have discussion on those subjects. You're allowing whatever happen. So you've got kids eulogizing the actors and actresses that play in those Twilight episodes and go around and talk about them. You've also got the books that the kids talk about. So now you've got street sex talk. Is that real? Or should it be discussed with an adult?